Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dainty, and if you are new, welcome to the world of Munchin Mama. This video is more in depth on the process that I had to go through, the steps that I did in order to get my apartment. I'm gonna try to touch on as many topics and bases as I can. I've been watching a lot of moving to different states, moving to Georgia, moving cross country. These are videos that I used to watch way before I even decided to move, but I'm gonna touch on what I did. Everyone is different, and I just don't want any problems if I didn't touch on anything. So I have everything written in my book right here. I actually have a bunch of journals that I usually carry around with me. I have a planner, I have a sketch notebook, and I have my journal that I write my recipes in and content ideas. So this is just ideas. So first things first, when moving, I definitely had to make sure my credit was good. That's the number one thing you guys have to, if you have bad credit, but I suggest you have so to okay credit, because if you don't, some places won't accept you, or if you do get accepted to some places, it's not going to be what you would like, honestly speaking. Like, it's not going to be in a safe area, or you're just going to have a lot of problems with, rodents or maintenance, or just customer service, to say the least, in the leasing office, because you're getting what you're paying for. My credit wasn't good at the time. It was horrible, because I actually, okay, story time, mini story time. I took a trip, like spontaneous trip, last year, June. And I decided to just drive down and just check out different areas in Georgia itself. I checked out Stone Mountain, Marietta, Duluth, Alpharetta, Norcross, a little bit of Decatur, I think I'm not sure if it's Crossgrove. I don't think that's a place. I think that's just an apartment complex. But either way, I checked out those places, and a lot of the places were beautiful, but I wasn't ready yet. So in the process of me doing that, me renting the car and buying all these things, I was doing this all on my card, and I never paid my card in time. And my score went so far down the drain, like you wouldn't even freaking imagine, within a month. So that was annoying. And I got the phone call August. So I visited Georgia in June, and I started applying for different places in July. And in August is when I received help from my broker, and I got accepted to my apartment where I'm at now. Now, getting into the nit-grits of what I had to do just to get inside is the crazy part. Coming in, I had to fly out from New York to Georgia to do my paperwork, because there's this little thing that they do where they say you have to hurry up and get the apartment because the apartment's gonna go fast, or it's a great cost. These are just marketing, like these are selling things that they do. And I was just so excited, and I just wanted it so badly. I didn't think of what they were doing, but whatever. It worked out for the best, because I'm very thankful and I'm blessed, and I have no regrets and no issues with my apartment, so that's fine. But flying out, I had to handle paperwork. So the paperwork that I had to handle was my personal information, my social security, my date of birth, all sorts of identification, I needed to show proof of my payment stubs, or whatever you have. Now in my case, I wasn't working when I left New York, but I have my company. So being that I was relocating, my company was already down here. So I just did all of that stuff, and then I gave them my paperwork and showed them my bank statements and show them that, there's money coming in and there's ample amount of money to pay for such and such things. So this is something that you guys need to be very mindful of. These people are going to ask for proof of date of birth, of proof of money income, money flow, and they want to see that you have a substantial amount of money to keep flowing in, so there's not going to be any hiccups or any issues in regards to paying for what you got to pay for. Now, I handled that. I received my key the move-in day. So I didn't receive my key when I signed my papers. I received my key, and I also didn't see my apartment. That's another thing, but I'll get to that. I did all my paperwork, came back to New York, bought my stuff down. Now, the day that I bought my stuff down, which was a Thursday, well, it was a Friday. I drove down the Thursday. Oh, yes. I drove from New York to Georgia by myself. It was a 14-hour trip. It was worth it. And that same day, I received my key. Now, I didn't see my apartment. I see my apartment the same day I got my key. Now, at that time, she did give me an option, like, is this what you want? Did it fit your needs? Is it something that you want to look for elsewhere? And I was like, no, this is exactly what I wanted. The space is good for me. The location is really good too, and it's everything that I asked for. I told my broker I need to be very close to nature. Like, I need nature. So right on my patio, I have outdoors, and it's beautiful. I'm not around the city life, so I'm perfect. I told my broker I wanted a patio, and I wanted my apartment to have certain things. I wanted to look a certain way. The only thing I would say, I had a lot of bugs. No one told me that the bugs down here are the size of my hands, okay? These bugs are huge. The mosquitoes, out of this world, okay? The lizards, but I can't expect anything different because I am right next to the woods, so what do I expect? But I was just so used to New York. I was so used to being in New York, being in the suburbs area. You don't have to deal with all that stuff because there's pest control. But, whatever. Within a month, I didn't have any problems anymore. But I think it was just because my apartment was unoccupied for so long. So me coming in, they were just still flowing around like, oh, whatever. So within a month and a half, I got everything like situated. So I didn't see any more spiders. I didn't see any of that stuff. But I see my apartment, and I signed all the rest of my paperwork, and the thing that I needed to make sure I had before I moved in, and I'm gonna get to that right now, is renter's insurance. You guys, there is no one, and maybe I didn't watch enough videos. I've watched in a handful, 10 different videos. Moving cross country, moving to the South, moving to Georgia, moving to Atlanta. No one mentioned that you need to have renter's insurance before they give you the key. Okay? No one mentioned that. So the Thursday, right? No, I'm lying. The Tuesday I flew down to handle my paperwork, okay? And I'm reading my paperwork while I'm on the plane going back home, and it stated that I needed to have renter's insurance. So I'm like, okay. So I called my leasing agent, not my broker, my leasing agent, And I said to her, I was like, I didn't know about this. And she's like, okay, I have someone I can give you. I'm like, okay. I didn't get a phone call from her. So this is the Wednesday, okay? But remember, the Thursday I drove down. So I only had one day to get all of my shit done. By the grace of God, I did. And I got my renter's insurance, and I also got electricity. Now you need to have a renter's insurance and electricity before you move in the apartment. I don't know about houses, but apartments, you have to have that. If you don't, they're not going to give you the key. I didn't have an option to say, okay, well, I can come back tomorrow, because there is no tomorrow. I rented a car for 4 days. I drove all the way down here. Like, I'm not sleeping in a car. I'm gonna sleep in my new apartment, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any of that. No. So I got that situated. Some really dope renter insurance places. I will put them down in the description box so you guys can, pick and choose from that. I will also try to see if I can recommend my renter insurance agent, and you guys can get that as well. Another thing that I learned on my own from viewing my receipts, I have to pay for water. Okay, now coming from New York, and I have never lived in a house or a townhome, I did not know that these are things that you have to pay for separately. So being that I am in a townhouse now, I have to pay for water. And it's a learning experience, I would say. So that is something to also be very mindful of. Put all these things into your calculations when you're trying to figure out where you want to move, what your budget is, what you have to spend month by month. So in the midst of paying rent, I have to pay for water separately, and I have to pay for sewage. So sewage and water are both included, and basically every time I flush my toilet bowl, that's being counted. And every time I take a shower, or however long I take a shower, that's being counted. When I wash my dishes, that's being counted. When I wash my hands or face or brush my teeth, that's being counted. I have a dishwasher. Every time I use it, that's being counted. Yeah, it's all being counted. So it's a learning experience. And I will say this is how I looked at it when I first came here. It's definitely something that's preparing me and prepping me for my next big step to either owning a home or owning a townhouse, or actually renting these things out to other people to put in these costs with the rent. So it was very difficult for me to get adjusted to in the first 2 months or so. I was just very confused, like, why? Like, I had a lot of questions, like, why? Like, no one explained this to me. I believe I seen it on the receipt paper, my lease agreement, but I just assumed that this is all the things that's in the rent that I'm paying for. I also pay separate for garbage. Yes. So every time I throw my garbage out, that's being counted for, which I don't understand. I never knew that they do this in New York, but maybe they do. Maybe it's just not counted in, or maybe it's not written down. I don't know, but whatever. It's all hidden fees. It's all hidden fees, and it's something to pay attention to. Yeah, definitely. So think about it. You have your rent, you have your water bill, you have your electricity. If you choose to have internet, TV, cable, you have that too. Then you also have your trash, and you have what's that other thing that I had to pay for? Oh, your personal things. You have your phone bill, you have your groceries, you have your what is it, your commute. So however you can, more than likely everyone drives. I don't drive. Don't quote me, don't mind your business. But you have your commute. If you choose to do Uber, if you choose to do Lyft, or you drive a car, you know. So those are all things. I know that if you do have renter's insurance, you can combine that. So the combo deal makes it a little bit easier, slightly less cheaper, maybe $50 to $100. I'm not quite sure. I don't know, but I know if you do have a car and you have renter's insurance, it's a little bit easier on the pockets for anyone. Now, I will say this: New York Con Edison ain't got nothing on Georgia Power, okay? Definitely not. This electricity is super cheap. Like, maybe it's my place. I'm also a vampire, so I don't use any lights at all in the daytimes. I open all the windows. I'm more of a natural light. I just love the outdoor lighting, and I just feel like, you know, lights is just too much, and plus I get a lot of headaches very fast. So me sitting in front of this bright light is just like driving me crazy. But electricity is super cheap, and also I mean, that would take away, you know, depending on how many people lives in the home, or how much you cook. I cook a lot. I'm also guessing because I don't cook in large quantities, so my electricity is not high. But when I do cook, I cook a good amount and I meal prep. But I do go in and out of my fridge a lot because I'm a huge snacker, like I've always said this. So I have like juice or my Munchie Mama tea that I'll make, and I'll chill it and I'll put it in the fridge, or I have my fruits in there. So I'm like always snacking constantly throughout the night. I don't sleep much. So that's another thing too. That's a perk for me, having cheap electricity. Also, I would say if you do choose to have, you know, like, well, I would say having electricity, try to check your insulation, because my insulation in my window for my patio was done poorly. So it doesn't matter how high I'll put the heat, in here would always feel cold. And I didn't realize that it was because there were cracks in the foundation of my window. So I had to have that fixed. And once I got it fixed itself, then, you know, the air was staying in here and here was staying warmer longer. I just didn't like the fact that I realized this after it started getting cold in Georgia. I'm lucky to say I'm not in New York weather, because I don't know what would happen if I was in New York and I had this issue. But needless to say, it's not that big of an issue. It's 1, 2, 3, simple handiwork. That's all in that case. I will say that when you're doing your search, to try to work with a broker if you can. If you cannot, just try your best. Ask friends, ask family, ask people that you may meet on Clubhouse or Instagram that already live in the state that you want to move to. Ask them about areas that are good. Ask them, you know, hey, can I come down for a weekend or so and you show me around different places? It's always good to make connections with people, because you never know where that relationship can take you. I've had numerous people contact me, some people I don't even know, from Instagram, and they just see that I put my location, Atlanta, Georgia, and they just ask me like, hey, you know, where in Georgia is a good area? I can't recommend anywhere because I don't know anywhere besides the location where I live. But I will always tell them, you know, when looking for a place down here, be mindful of these things, because in your state that you may live, you may have this or you may not have this, or maybe a different company that you're using. So always be mindful of that. And I will say, be prepared for change. Be prepared for fear, because when moving, it's not easy at all. It's very stressful. Um, I will say when I was moving, it was very stressful, but I didn't feel it. I didn't feel what my mind wanted me to feel. So my mind was trying to catch up to what was happening. So at the moment when I'm driving, my mind was trying to grasp what is going on. I didn't let fear stifle me, and I didn't let it take over me, because if it would have, I would have stopped like in the middle of en route and just turned back and just said, what the hell am I doing? Like, I can't do this. Like, what, me? Like, what? Why? Like, no. I couldn't allow that to happen. So I will say, make sure your support is very strong. And even if you don't have a support system, I'm always right here for you. Okay? There's always someone out there for you. Even if you don't know the person like that, just find someone that you know that you're cool with. I was very fortunate and very blessed to have a young man who was very respectful of my decision, and he was super supportive. He was not my man, but he was a friend, and he was a really good friend. And I, the day I found out, I told him. The day that I was leaving, he'd called and checked in on me a lot, and those are good people that you need in your life. And it doesn't hurt to always reach out to someone and let them know what you're going through and that you need that support right then and there at that moment. I would say I was in disbelief. I'm not gonna lie, I was in disbelief that I was actually moving. I was in shock. I wouldn't say I was in panic mode, but I was afraid. I was afraid of doing such a big thing. I'm a risk taker. That's hands down. I'm a risk taker. I have no issues. I have no issues being spontaneous. I have no issues acting and then questioning. Like, I'm a person, I take charge first, then I wait to see, then I did wait and read directions. I'm that type of person. Like, I will go and build something and don't even care for the manual, because it's like, okay, this is self-explanatory. This is easy. Just sit there and try to figure it out. I'm a person, I like to work my brain around things. And this time I didn't let my brain work on me, because I was not going to let myself talk myself out of this. I couldn't do it. I couldn't talk myself out of this. So I will say this: if you choose to ever make any big decision in your life, don't second guess it. And one thing I always tell people, when you do want to do something big, keep your mouth closed, shut up. Don't talk about it. Leave it alone. Keep it in here. If you tell one person that you trust. And I wouldn't even say tell one person you trust, but just tell one person that you know they have loyalty. Tell one person you know that their integrity means a lot to them. Because there are people that you'll tell them one thing and then everybody else will find out. And that's different energies on something that's meaningful to you. I don't tell people things at all. Like, at all. I don't tell people. I probably have one person that I tell. I literally do have one person I tell, but I would always tell her things. I know she's gonna watch this soon. I would tell her things after it is happening, after I have made my mind up, and after I know what's the outcome. But I'm just telling her to tell, just to get it off my chest, just to tell someone else, because it feels good to just let air out, let steam out. Sometimes it's just too much to keep balled in, especially when it's exciting news or if it's something that we're really nervous about. But me, I don't tell people things. I talk to God. I talk to God. I cry to God. I laugh about things to God. I scream. I shout. I do everything, because I feel like other people cannot answer your questions for you that you are trying to figure out. They can give you insight, they can give their input, but they cannot lead you where you need to go. And so I'm a strong person, like I'm a strong believer on that. And so I don't tell people anything about me. I don't. So when I was moving, I told probably like 2 people. That was it. Everybody else found out. Everyone else found out. At the same time, everybody else found out. And if the person didn't know before, like when I was driving down, then that was their message, like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not important enough. It's not that you're not important, it's just like you're not trustworthy. I would never dare trust my business like that out there with people. So that is that. I will say, yeah, I will say, just do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Anything that you want to do, if you have the money, if you have the time, if you have the opportunity, do it. If it's not going against your morals, if it's not interfering with your immediate family, do it. Do it. Because one thing you do not want to live with is, why not? Why didn't I? Why did I waste that opportunity? Why did I wait so long? Why? Why? Why put yourself in that time, in that limit? Why put yourself in that predicament to think like that? Who's to say that when you make this big move, you don't change everything about you? See, because I had to learn in my business, from being in my business and thinking of how things interfere with another, your environment can impact your mental, and your mental can impact your physical. So if you're in a place that is, I'm not saying everyone is in this predicament, but I'm saying if your environment is toxic and you are always in a argumentative environment, or a physically scarring environment, or just, you see things that's not supposed to be seen by the regular person, that's gonna put a lot on your mental. It's gonna put a lot on your mental. And then what's gonna happen? It's gonna start to show in your body, by your body language, by how you talk, by how you move, how you interact with people, how you interfere with different things, how you do different things. It all balances out. Everything trickles down into the other. It's like a domino effect. But with me, I didn't have those issues, but I just needed to be free. I needed to be free, and I needed to see what it feels like to spread my wings, and it feels so good. It feels so good. So I pray and I hope that everyone gets that opportunity. It doesn't matter what it is. I just pray that everyone sees that they are worthy of love, worthy of happiness, worthy of greatness, because you were born. You're here today. Okay? That's your greatness. Do something today to make your greatness last. Okay? Tomorrow is never promised to any of us. So while you're here today, you have to be kind, you have to be mindful, you have to show everyone that you love them. You have to do for you too. You have to do for you. So that is all. I hope that you guys did get enough info from this video. Of course, I went on rambling again, but I will see you all on Instagram or Clubhouse. I am always on Clubhouse nowadays, so I'm gonna put the link right here so you guys can add me and join in a couple rooms with me, and maybe I can be a part of your room as well. Later, guys.